It's your girl, Dizzy, the host, and welcome to Whatchu got to say. You know, I got my crazy co-host in the building. What's up, Tyrone Gregory?
Hello.
What's up, Cool Candace?
What's up, y'all? Time to chop it up.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Cabana Black? That dude. Hey, so just letting y'all know that he had an emergency extraction of his wisdom tooth on Friday. And so he really can't talk that well. So we're going to be doing, I don't know, signage and gang signs and American Sign Language and letters to try to get his point across today. But we love him nevertheless. And we also have Miss Keela Mahogany.
Hey, y'all.
All right, so our topic today is talking white. So in the past couple of years, there's been some movies that have come out that have kind of shed some light on this subject. And quite funny movies, as a matter of fact, but we kind of wanted to dig deep and see how real this is in our lives, how many times we've encountered it, and you know what the real terminology is. There's some real terminology in science, exactly what we're talking about. So from what I have researched so far is that what this is called linguistic profiling.
Ooh.
Right? It's called linguistic profiling. And I know that in our culture, if not also other cultures, we are prone to do what is called code switching, which I will get into a little bit later. So who would like to start about maybe an instance when they were told that they were talking white? Yes, Candace.
So I want to say I was in maybe high school, or no, actually I was at church, and I grew up in a Baptist church. So Southern Baptist, the whole hooping preacher, and you know, over time things changed. But as far as that was concerned, when I was growing up, my parents sent me to private school. My dad was in the military. My mom worked at a prominent company. So they did what they could to make sure that, you know, we didn't live in the hood, and, you know, I was surrounded by people who spoke correctly. And my dad always harped on that. So even when I went to school, you know, bring home all your books. We can go through your assignments. You're not going to speak slang and whatever that is, you know, some of those other kids are speaking. I want you to speak correctly, use correct English, speak where people can understand you. When you shake somebody's hand, look them in the face, give them a firm handshake so they know that you mean business. So they're not going to take you for a joke. Cool, I got it. So growing up, I'm reading, you know, words in the book, and if I can't figure something out, all right, Candace, go get a dictionary. Look it up in the dictionary. Well, if I can't spell it, look it up in the dictionary. All right, so, you know, these are the things that my dad always taught me. So by the time I actually, well, one thing, I grew up around a lot of white people.
Okay.
That's one thing. So when I would speak, I spoke like what I heard. Enunciating the words that I heard or that I was reading, and speaking clearly so that everyone could understand what I was saying. So when I got around more Black people at the Black church that we decided to join, why you talk like a white girl? Why you speak like that? What's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just talking.
Right.
Well, why you sound like that? Sound like what? Like, because I was speaking clearly. So, you know, go home, ask your parents, hey, why they say I talk like a white girl? Or why do they say I'm trying to be white? Or do I know that I'm Black because of the way that I speak? And that was baffling to me. I was completely confused. And then I get to middle school and the same thing happens. So I was normally around a lot of white kids, but when I got to this middle school, which was different because my dad retired and we moved, now there are more Black kids than I would normally have in the school that I was used to. So they're like, well, why you talk like a white girl? Why are you speaking like that? What's wrong with you? I don't know. I'm speaking English. What are you talking? Like, I didn't understand it. And so from that point on, it's been happening all my life.
Did you ever get an explanation from your parents?
The best way I remember that my dad told me, he said, you know, don't let what everyone else is saying about you affect how you feel about yourself and what we've taught you. He said, they aren't going to help you get a job when it's time for you to go into the workforce. So if you walk in and you're speaking slang and you're talking incorrectly and you're slurring your words and you're dragging your words out and stuff, they may not understand exactly what you're saying. And because they're not in a position of power to get you that position or to hire or fire you, don't worry about what they're saying because it doesn't matter at this point. So what you need to make sure that you're focused on is getting your education, reading as many books as you can so that you can be fluent in whatever languages you choose to learn, and you know how to speak correctly because people will respect you more. Because if you're speaking crazy, nobody's going to listen to you. They're not going to take you serious. All right, cool. So I took that and ran with it. And I've been hearing that all my life.
Okay.
Even when I was working at the radio station, it was like, well, you have a good Midwestern voice is what I was told. And I was like, never heard that term before, but all right, cool, whatever.
Right. I mean, I will say that I didn't really realize in the United States that we had different dialects. I didn't pay attention to the different dialects, or at least I didn't acknowledge that we had different dialects until I went to Germany, actually. Because when I was in Germany and I would speak German to people in the bakery, and I was in, Rhine Falls area, I learned German from a mother and a daughter that were from Munich, and they have a different dialect of German there. So I would pronounce my words with a Munich dialect. And every time I would speak, they would kind of look at me like, I know you're not from Munich. Why do you have this accent? And I had to actually start researching dialects, and I'm like, oh, dialects. Yes, we do have them in the United States. You've got, your northern dialect, and you've got people from Minnesota, and not just Minnesota, but that area. Minnesota, and then New York doesn't sound like Florida, who doesn't sound like Georgia, who doesn't sound like Texas, who doesn't sound like Cali, and so on and so forth. And then that started to make me realize that, yeah, even though we have the standard English language, we have different dialects across the board that sway what the standard language sounds like. And I think standard language is contrary to area. So I think that's where they got the Midwestern sound of your voice, because that's what it sounded like to them with the vernacular. Keela.
Yes. So I'm sitting here listening to everyone. I think I'm trying to formulate how I actually feel about this, because it's different than right before we started the podcast. And listening to Cool Candace, I have a different opinion. I think that Black people from certain areas, they speak a certain way when they're talking, when they're talking to each other. And white people do the same. Or, whatever neighborhood you're from, if you're in a city, you speak to each other, in a way, yeah. And so now I see that when Black people said, you talk white, it was because my friends were white and I was speaking as if I was talking to my white friends, and Black people don't speak to each other like that. That's how I feel now, instead of it just being that, oh, because you sound educated, or you sound, you sound like you read a book, that's why you sound white. No, that's not, sounding white. It's just because white people speak and use certain words. They use different words than we do, and, it doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it good. It's just different. And so when you go and try to speak to a Black person in that way, they're going to be, I don't talk like that, or, whatever it is, with that group of people. Cause I grew up in California, but then I moved to the South. And so y'all can imagine how I didn't sound like this. I sounded like I was from California, Southern California. And I grew up around, with my best friend being white. That's exactly what I sounded like. When I went to, East Texas or Louisiana or Arkansas that have heavy draws, and they also they self-segregate themselves. And so Black people are mainly around Black people and white people are mainly around white people. And so me coming in, it did feel like it was like an insult to me or something like that. But now I feel differently about it. It's It's just that we don't use the words that community uses with each other. And
Right.
I feel like that's what sounding white is.
Okay. Tyrone Gregory?
So, with me growing up, my mother, I love her to death. Rest her soul. She would not let me speak incorrectly. And it has doubled back on me now. My kids can't even speak incorrectly in front of me. I will sit there and say 15 times until they say the words the way they're supposed to be said. Mm-hmm. Use the English language the way it's supposed to be used. But yeah, like I grew up in the middle of, inner city Indianapolis. You know what I'm saying? We talk to each other any kind of way. We got our little languages or dialects, if you will. But you have a time for business. And like when you're handling business, you need to speak correctly. Like Candace's father was saying, nobody's going to take you serious if you're not speaking correctly. And see, right then, I'm just ready to correct myself. No one will take you serious. Not nobody will take you serious. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's embedded in me to speak like this. So, I don't understand when people say, why do you speak, white? Why do you speak so proper? Why you act like you can't say street, but you saying street? But you know how to use these STs together. Mm-hmm. So it's like, for me, I don't know. The first time somebody even told me I sounded different was when I joined the military. And I got around people from everywhere, and they're like, why do you talk so proper? Because I know proper English, motherfucker. Like, so
right.
That's my take on it. It's like, it's not about being proper and all this. It's like, it's actually how the words are supposed to be used.
Right. So, do you have something to write, Kaban? Hold on, Scope, move to the little. Is it really talking white? Hold on. We got to look at it again. You might want to type it because you frozen and it's to the side. But that's all right. We'll get it. Oh, there we go. Is it really talking white or really acting white? Okay. So I'm gonna kind of jump on that because I want to give my experience of what has happened. Okay. So I'm a military brat. But I'm born and raised in Hampton Roads in VA. I feel that growing up, my parents were the same as yours. Don't use incorrect grammar, don't use incorrect English, so on and so forth. Learn how to speak properly. That was kind of what they drilled into me initially. Just, this is the way it's got to be, because when you go to school, this is what you're going to be graded on. Mm-hmm. That does not mean that my parents did not speak. They spoke articulately when they needed to, but I've also been privy to slang because my dad is from Portsmouth, Virginia, which is like almost, not the whole city, but it's like almost the epitome of hood in this area. And so I know where my dad came from, and I was privy to watching my dad do what they call code switching. So he would, military uniform off. We're going to Portsmouth to see aunts and uncles and cousins. My cousins don't talk like me. My uncles don't talk like me. Now, it's not to the point that I don't understand what they're saying, but I'm kind of cocking my head like,
why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that? Now, they never asked, I've never been asked, why do I talk white? Because I believe that my voice is so deep. Depending on who I'm talking to on the phone, they really can't tell, depending on the voice I'm using, because my voice is just naturally deep.
Depending on your code switch.
But however,
code switch.
Right. But when I go, I will tell you, one of my first jobs, I loved the movie that came out, Sorry to Bother You. I found that movie hilarious because for 3 years, that's exactly what I did. So, Sorry to Bother You, if you guys have not seen it. Basically, black guy goes and works for a telemarketing company, sales company, gets on the phone trying to make sales. He keeps getting hung up on, so on and so on and so forth. So he ends up sitting next to this guy at work one day, and the guy's like, look, if you want to make dough, you got to use your white voice. Okay, that's what he told him. Now, no lie, when I used to work at MCI, I used to be that one that called you trying to get you to switch your long distance services. My supervisor taught me when the screen comes up, look at the state and let the person start speaking first. And then you code switch. If it's an older lady on the phone, slow down your speech. If she has an accent, integrate her accent. Basically, become the chameleon. I'm going to talk to you the way that makes you feel comfortable. Why? Because I can't be on the phone with someone that lives in Texas and speaks fast like a New Yorker. They won't trust you. Mm-hmm. And so I feel that as a whole, we have learned to code switch. So like Dave Chappelle had a joke that he said one time is that Black people can automatically, we speak 2 languages. We speak street, and then we speak job interview.
Yeah.
We don't answer the phone the same way depending on who's calling on that phone. And there's been several times where, you know, I'll give an example. Keela talking to me and Keela are talking, I'm on the phone, yeah, girl, and this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, this hair bad, blah, blah, blah. Girl, hold on. This is Shonda, how can I help you? Yes, okay, yeah, I got it. I sent it to you via email just a few minutes ago. Let me go back and check. I will re-forward that to you just a minute. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, girl, so this week, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so here's my thing. Is it a bad thing? Are we acting? Are we not being our true selves? I mean, are we not allowed to be multifaceted?
It's not a bad thing. See, the thing is, it's the reaction of the people that receive you. Like, I did a job interview. I did the first part over the phone. I got there. I'm waiting. They come out. And they're like, Gregory? And I say, that's me. That's not the same Gregory who was on the phone. That was a white man on the phone. Who the hell's this bald-bearded black man coming in here looking for this job? And I didn't even get the job either. So it's all about the reaction of the people that hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think I wanted to say that, oh man, I just lost my thought. We were saying about code switch. This is something that I have had to do because I've been into so many schools and had to adapt because I'm also a military brat. And so that helps another person feel comfortable when they feel like you are just like them. You know what I mean? Like you said, slowing down your voice or, you know, speeding it up depending on where you are. And unfortunately, Black people, we have had to do that in order just to assimilate to the country that we live in. And I don't think it's a bad thing. And about the job interview and street, I think that's what it is. That's really what it is. Why are you speaking job interview to me right now? It's not, you know, things like that. So when a Black person says, why are you speaking white to me? No, why are you speaking job interview to me? That should be the new term. Let's do away with, you know, stop.
Right.
Why are you speaking job interview to me? Calm down and relax.
I'm your home girl. Chill out. You know.
KBS.
Cabana. Hold on, Cabana got something. Hold on. 2 things. He got 2 things.
Oh, it's charades.
Hey, I swear his facial expressions tell everything.
Being educated, a white lie that was created to keep us trapped.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the first one.
Say it.
Did we create slang to give us a voice to the lie? Okay.
I think we did it to create a voice, not to the lie, but to give us our own sort of culture that we can communicate on our own, where they aren't necessarily in the middle of it. Because we were already taken from our homeland, we lost our home language, and we really didn't have a tie back to where we came from.
Right.
So for, you know, Black people to be able to communicate amongst each other and not have to worry about, you know, some white people or some Asians or, you know, Hawaiian, whoever, to try and get in the middle of it, it allowed us to feel comfortable amongst ourselves. And right. The first thing that you said, put that back up, Cabana.
It was education created to...
So, yeah, the education piece. So I was always told, if you want to hide something from Black people, put it in a book.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of old people would, you know, put stuff, they hide money in a book and stick it on a bookshelf. You know, when nobody
read, get killed and try and beaten.
Say what? Say it again, Keela?
I said that's because they would kill us or they would beat us if we even learned to read. It's not, they try, hold on, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but they say that as an insult to Black people. That is not an insult to Black people, because don't say that if you want to, you know, keep something from a Black person, put it in the book. It's because you were killing us when we were trying to learn how to read.
Agreed.
They started printing lies in the books.
Right.
Sorry, Candace.
Fine, because you said exactly where I was going with it, because it makes complete sense to us now, because we've learned better, now we know better. Right. But at the same time, you know, back when they were saying things like that and where that was the norm, it was not for us to learn better so that we could do better. So if you kept us stupid, if you kept us dumb, if you kept us from being able to learn better or read books and become more knowledgeable about any subject that we were trying to find out about, then that allowed you to continue to oppress us because we didn't know any better.
What's up, Greg?
Candace, you just said something that just, man, made me really just go forward in my head. So the fact that they didn't want us to learn, they didn't want us to, you know, educate ourselves, right? They messed up. They did it to themselves when Steve Jobs started making computers, and then he made the iPad and all this. Because see, our generation, we know when the internet started. You see what I'm saying? So before that, we had to read books.
AOL.com with the crazy sounds.
Like, I used to have to go, I would get in trouble. My mother would be like, nah, get in that encyclopedia and look up this page and write this and da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Our kids come out with a damn iPad in their face.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
They self-educate themselves all day long. Yes. All day long. You know, all this stuff that's going on right now, me and my wife was talking, and we was talking in front of our daughter, and our daughter was like, Daddy, why racism ain't gone yet? I was like, where'd this come from? I thought about it. I said, man, she reading that daggone on that.
That world is right there.
It's all right there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, though we have the, you know, dialogue together, she's already doing it herself, and they do it from the time they come out the womb. Like, as soon as they get a chance, they already know how to go to PBS Kids. Oh, Nickelodeon. Boom. May not even be able to say the word or read the word, but they know how to daggone type it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to.
I wanted to hit on Cabana's second hit. No, his first. There was something he put up, and he said, "Is it when we were talking about talking white?" And he said, "Is it talking white? Not that one. The other one. The talking white, or is it acting white?" Okay. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think about that? So, I think that all of us have pretty much established that we don't truly feel there's a talking white, quote unquote. It's just we're speaking educated, or we're speaking correctly.
Job interview.
This is what we're job interview, right? These are the way the words are written. These are the grammatical rules of the English language, and we are following them. So it does not make me white. It makes me right. It just makes me right. Okay. So with the acting,
Black people.
Hold on. So with the acting white, have you ever been addressed with someone saying that you are acting white? And what does that look like? Keela? Look at Keela. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I went from California, Southern California, to the East Texas. I don't know what they meant by that. I'm going to say that from the jump. I don't know what they meant by acting white. I was inexperienced when I got to college, and so I don't know if that was associated with it. But I can really say I don't know why they said I acted that way. I can understand why they say I sound that way.
Right.
I don't know about the acting. But when you come back after you go through everybody, I want to talk about the second thing that the slang that.
Okay, because there's a caveat. We're gonna come back to that, but there's a caveat. I'm asking this question for a reason. Candace, what about you? Do you think there is a acting white?
I wouldn't say necessarily acting white.
Okay.
I think I've maybe heard that in the past that I was acting white, but I think it's more so of acting appropriately. Because there's a time and a place for everything.
Mhm.
So, if you are hanging out with your friends, it's okay to relax a little bit. You're not so uptight when you're hanging out with them, but you're not going to be so relaxed and lollygagging or whatnot when you get to work or when you're in school. You're, okay, I know I have a job to do. This is the assignment I was given. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
I got my feet kicked up, excuse me, and moving at a snail's pace. When you're in the workplace, all right, move with a purpose.
Right.
You got a task to do. Let's get it done. And I think more so than acting white, it's just acting appropriately in that moment or whatever time frame or whatever you're supposed to be.
Okay.
My says it's all the time. Right place, right time, right uniform.
Right.
You won't
Right.
So if that's where you're supposed to be and this is where you are, good for you. If you have a task that you're supposed to be completing at that specific moment and you're supposed to be in this specific uniform when you're doing it and you got it all together, good for you. Because at that point, you've done what you're supposed to be doing and you're behaving appropriately at this moment. You're not in there cussing somebody out, acting retarded, or acting like you don't have good sense, like you have no home training.
Right.
Don't you go out there and embarrass me. Act
Right.
I taught you something.
Are we still talking about acting white?
Yes.
Yeah, I that's what I am.
Because I think what it is that people will say that statement of you're acting white when you're acting civil.
Okay.
When it's really white is presented as the role model citizen, which is
right.
What you meant. Right. Right.
What I'm trying to get at, it's like, what does the acting white mean?
Right. What do you think, Greg?
I got told that I talk white and dress like a white boy because I don't sag my pants. I wear my clothes that fit my body. You know what I'm saying? I speak to you directly. It's just period point blank for me. And I got told that, and it was crazy. I'm like, and this was from another black man in the military at that. Like, dude, so why you want to go put on your uniform and be all prim and proper, but then take it off and your pants hanging off your ass?
Right.
Where you feel that?
But right. What benefit does that give you? That makes you what? That makes you harder? But for me, because I wear my pants on my waist, if I need to tuck my shirt and I tuck it in, I'm dressing white.
Was that the argument that he?
Yeah, that was the argument. I was acting white.
You should be sagging. He thought that you should be sagging your pants.
He said I wasn't hood enough.
I've heard that.
As if that was something that you were attempting to obtain.
Exactly.
Go with my SAT words. Thank you. Yes. So, okay. So, hold on. So, I asked the white question. So then I now have to do my devil's advocate flip. So if we don't feel that there is really a true acting white, we're just acting appropriately. Then what about individuals that we claim are acting black?
I knew it.
I think
so, and I'm asking that because I watched, not that this is a credible source, but I was watching it and that made me think about this today. So looking through TikTok, because that's my guilty pleasure. I laugh at TikTok all day. I've seen an overwhelming increase of Black Lives Matter support on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And there was this one particular girl, I went through and started looking at her videos. She's very, very light. She may be white. I don't know. I don't know that much about her from TikTok to be able to make this assumption. But she looked like she was white. She had braids in her hair. And she spoke kind of like the brat. Her vernacular was like the brat. And her comment or her content for these few videos was, you know, basically, oh, so y'all think because I'm white and I speak like this and I walk like this and I talk like this, that one, I can't really support Black Lives Matter, and y'all think I'm trying to act black. And apparently, I don't know who in her family, she got a whole lot of people, she has a lot of people in her family that are black, and everyone that she's pretty much grown up around in her life are black. So therefore, I think it's maybe the reverse situation of what Candace experienced. Candace came from a white neighborhood, private schools, mostly white crowd. This girl grew up around Black people, Black family, Black friends. So therefore, she's kind of taken on what's the norm around her. So how do we, I don't even want to say how do we feel about that, but what's the difference between that and what we are talking about?
It's the
if
culture.
there is.
I think it's the same. That just goes to show that a person is going to be, you know, that's the nature that is coming out in that person. It's going to be evident throughout every single person in this world. Wherever you grew up, you are going to take on everything from that area. And so you're going to be, you know, that's what's also going to mold you into the person that you are, your speech, everything. That's why I don't even know what kind of, you know, dialect I have, because I've lived in so many different areas and now on another, you know, in another country for the last 10 years. So I don't even sound like I'm really from one place. But if I would have stayed in Southern California where I, you know, went to high school, then it would have just been, I would sound like they do here. And
Right.
so I think that just goes to show you are, you know, where you grow up and who you grow up around.
Okay.
It's straight culture, man. Just like Keela just said, straight up. It's what you are raised around. If my family was the type of family that was, you know, just straight hood, as they say, I would just probably be just a straight hood ass dude. But I was raised to take care of business so that way I can prosper and my family can prosper.
People in the hood take care of business.
No. I'm saying yes. I'm talking to the stereotypes.
Yeah, I just don't want to get it to where it's like when we're speaking about the right way to be, that where it's more lean towards proper and whiteness. And when we're speaking about like maybe the opposite of that, then it's hood and it's black.
No. We're on the same page. We're on the same page. I'm with you. I'm just saying, like, what you've grown up around and how you were raised is how you are, period. Yeah. If you were raised to speak properly, you're going to speak properly. If you were raised around people who are not speaking properly and they're not trying to push you to speak properly, you might not. You might educate yourself, not saying that they're not educated, but you may get yourself to that level where you're speaking properly and what is it, enunciating, or it's enunciate, you know, using your words the right way. But some people just don't. So like with that young lady, with her acting black, really she's just speaking the way that she hears
exactly
speak to her. And like Candace even said, you know, that's what she heard growing up. Keela said the same thing. That's what she heard from Cali. So when she got where she was, you know, people were like, why you talk like that? That young lady, whoever she is, you know, God bless her. I haven't seen her video or nothing, but
right.
Yo, how you gonna fault her?
So do you feel as a whole, because I think all of us can actually kind of throw opinions in on this, do you feel that we, us five, are more receptive to that type of thinking because we are military brats and have seen more than your average American? Well, because your average, or military member, military brat or military member, because because all five of us on here are in some way, shape, form, or another have been connected to the military. Mm-hmm. So, but we are not the majority on this on this planet. You have people who were born. I mean, I'll use my own hometown. I have people that I know that were born here, raised here, and never left here. Their only place they've ever been is maybe Atlanta. You know what I mean? They've never seen anything more than, let's say, the South or whatever the case may be. And so I am one that feels that, you know, if you've never traveled to see more, then your level of acceptance is stunted because you have nothing to compare it to. I mean, I know that I know my military, history with my parents, and then being out of the country for years has broadened my views on a lot. And then being married to a foreigner has broadened my views even more, and I'm more accepting of things and less likely to point the finger accusatory, like you did this intentionally. It's like, no, I think sometimes you just don't know better. And if you don't, it's okay, but I don't know. I think that we have kind of an advantage. Now it's an advantage. When we were going through it, it wasn't, but now it's an advantage. It is a double standard, period. And they act Black for money and fame, and then they blame Black people when things go wrong.
Talking about celebrities. We talking about
Okay, we talking about celebrities.
Miley Cyrus.
Hey, hold on. That was dope right there, Cabana. That was dope.
Miley Cyrus doing everything.
So is the internet our Black oasis?
Yes, we are able to speak directly to each other. Our message no longer needs to be filtered through, different other medias. They don't. We can talk directly to each other.
You know what's crazy? So, like he just said, they do that to get fame and all that, right? But think about this, though. Look at how powerful our culture is.
Right.
That it's getting misappropriated. Like, they're using it, like he said, to get the fame. But yet, they want to kill us off and ridicule us. So y'all want to steal what we are doing, but yet y'all act like, we're wrong when we speak properly. But then y'all want to go out here and, come on, what was it?
Okay, so I got a question about that. I've never had a white person tell me I sounded white.
Never.
It was my own people.
It was always
that
Black.
said I sounded white. And I understand the general premise of someone saying you want to misappropriate our culture, but you want to bounce when things go wrong. But I don't think that that's a fair statement for the entire culture. Now, like Miley Cyrus is an example of the exact same person. Yeah. You stole our culture, loved it when it was good for you. Then when we bash, you said, hold on, mama, you can't do that. Now we're the problem. She is a prime example of someone who has done that. But I do feel that there are several celebrities that do embrace our culture, but they don't throw us to the side just because they got in trouble.
Right. I agree.
No, that's fact.
So it's a different, I always say, who is they? It's a different they. Yeah. And you can have a they that embraces our culture, but why? But why what? Why what?
With
why even do
it? Why do they do that? Money.
It's money.
Money.
Well, okay.
Let me use the root of all evil.
Let me ask you this. So our culture obviously is popular. It's popular. It's got soul. It's got everything. Our culture is popular.
I have a comment over here too. So
okay. All right. So our culture is popular. So what happens when our culture is not just misappropriated by the people in our own country? It's also misappropriated by cultures. It's worldwide. However, the love of our culture worldwide, you don't think that plays a part in all of these marches everywhere else in the world right now, bigger than the ones here in the States for Black Lives Matter? It's because they love the people and the culture, and they realize that it's wrong. And sometimes I feel they fighting harder for it than we are. I'm looking at these protests in Paris, 10, 20, 30,000.
Beautiful.
People. It's amazing. And I am not surprised, but I am shocked that other countries are madder about it than some of people in our country are.
Yeah, fact.
They get it.
Yeah.
There's too many people in our country that still think, it's not an issue, or the South will rise again. That whole mentality. Mm-hmm. So like Malcolm said. Just so y'all know, they lost that.
I would love for the indigenous people of this country to just go in, yo.
But I mean, like Malcolm X said, you have to, you know, they were going to have to look at it as a human rights issue, not just an issue. And I think the world is paying attention.
Right.
They're still focusing on, well, why can't you do this peacefully? Why are y'all still, why is everyone so angry? Well, when everyone was trying to do this peacefully, and we're trying to bring awareness to it, y'all didn't listen. Y'all ignored it. Y'all told us to shut up and dribble, and told us to, you know, just kind of go on your way.
Right.
When has there been peace without a war first?
True. Look, where's your fact sign? They cannot deny our power to change lives, because our struggle causes us to know how to fight and rebuild and still love y'all. Enough is enough. True.
Yeah. Someone said, Hollister said over here, talking white is just another way to further downplay Black English, like how Black people speak to each other. That is it. The vernacular, is that the word that people use?
Yeah.
I love it. Like for me, my favorite Black vernacular, I guess if that's how you say it, that could be totally wrong, is the California, like, whew, the LA vernacular is just so.
I'd be like, Buster.
Listen,
the way Buster.
So, you know, it's further to downplay Black people, and you know, don't listen to this person because they're not speaking the way that this person is saying. So you're undermining what that person is actually saying when they could be spitting straight facts. Nipsey Hussle.
Straight up.
Right.
True. Not every boardroom would have allowed him to be in there to, you know, try to, you know, progress things in this world just by the way that he spoke. And that is.
So here's a question. Do you feel that if people code switched more often, that they would get farther?
No.
Unfortunately.
I do not agree.
Yes.
Okay, so there was a study that was done, which I didn't need to read the study to know that this happens, but so they had people call to try to get apartments in Los Angeles, California. And they had some people call with their regular voice. Well, excuse me, there's the standard voice. They had people call and code switch and sound white. They had Latino call with the Latino accent, and Asian call, and white. Most of the Asian, Latino, and Black voices, I think it would say like 50%, didn't even receive calls back for the property. They didn't even receive calls back for the property. Now, that is not necessarily saying they are racist, but I'm just saying, just look at that number. And this can also be, and let's just make sure, I just want to make sure I put this out there. We are not just talking about this talking white thing just for Black people. Because it's not just us. Asians have caught on. Indians have caught on. Anyone with any type of accent that is beyond, that's outside of the United States dialect, they do it. They do it because they know it's going to get them a little bit farther, get them listened to a little bit more, get them at that boardroom that Nipsey Hussle couldn't get into. I will say, even in Germany a few times, there were some times where I needed to get information in Germany. And I called my friend Susan and say, hey, can you call this spot and find out how much their venue is? How much the venue is, what's this, and that, and the third. Because she was German and spoke the language, she got better prices for the venues than I did when I would call myself.
Wow.
I mean, that's how I got my apartment. I go with we went on many apartment, hunting visits, and the only way we got one is when he went by himself. So it is what
Right.
it is.
Right.
Have to
So
appeal-
doing it, so
you have to appeal to your audience.
right. So what do you guys think about back in the day when they tried to push Ebonics as an actual language? Like in the early 90s.
I
don't have a thought about it at all.
So I think I was in California during that time, or I was discussing it with people during that time, and I felt two ways about it. Because education is only a assembly line to get you to be a worker.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it, because now you're not putting those Black children in position to go to the next phase, which is to get into college. That they're not going to be doing Ebonics to then get that job interview, because they're not going to be speaking Ebonics. This isn't going to be a nationwide thing. So I wanted to know what was behind that. But at the same time, I thought that you can speak to your children in a way that they are going to understand you and still teach them what is in the book.
Right.
You need to appeal to them and teach them to where they will understand it with the words they will understand, but teach them the book.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? To pass those tests, because that's all school is an assembly line to get you to be a worker.
I feel that the push of Ebonics was trying to stop us from code switching.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this because I of course research. That's what I do. They talked about Ebonics, and it says, what does Ebonics sound like?
Oh.
Ebonics pronunciation includes features like the omission of the final consonant in words like past, they say pass, and hand, they say han. The pronunciation of the TH in bath as a T, like bat.
Who wrote it?
Hold on. Or F, like bath. And the pronunciation of the vowel in words like my and ride as a long I, like my ride, my ride. Some of these occur in vernacular white English too, especially in the South, but they generally occur more frequently in Ebonics. Some Ebonics pronunciations are more unique, for instance, dropping the B, D, or G at the beginning of auxiliary verbs like don't and gonna, yielding a sound. So yelling I don't know, instead of saying I don't know. And I'ma do it, for I'm going to do it. To me,
for you not to be able to talk this week, you are saying a lot.
You are quite vocal. But what trips me is I'm just like, and now look, this isn't BS, y'all. I didn't find this on no. This is from the Linguistics Society of America. Where it started, what does it sound like? What do you look like? What does it look like? What do people think about it? So on. And I can't. Now, are they really wrong?
Listen.
Because
this will take
I knew exactly what they were trying to do. I just never saw it written.
It sounds like
white. Like, what's wrong?
Huh? Right. But okay, so I'm not gonna sit here and deny that I know people, not just Black. I know people who speak this way. I'm finna call her, and so on and so forth. I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't know people that speak this way. But I definitely would have had a problem if this was taught to my children, as if they don't already know what I'm saying.
Right.
They know, if I spoke like that at home, my children know what I'm saying without you putting it in a book.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing you were saying, because you can speak how you want to speak, but you can still teach them how to say it properly. But just because you speak that way together, that's y'all dialect within each other. But teaching them to go out into the world, you dealing with all different facets of people.
And can you imagine? Okay, so even though they tried to say that Ebonics was African American English, if I heard that's what they said, I would probably, if a white guy, no lie, if a white guy came up to me and was speaking like this, I would probably like just be like really be staring at him for a minute, like, I'm not sure if you're talking to me this way because you think that that's what I understand, or you from Louisiana. Or you Paul Wall or from Houston or something like that. I wouldn't know how to feel initially. Like the conversation would have to keep going for me to realize, oh, you really talk like that. You're not trying to be funny.
But guess what? That's what happened back in the day when we learned how to read and write.
This is Steve from The Color Purple. You are so stupid.
But that's what happened way back, in the slavery days, when we started to learn how to read and speak and articulate. They started looking at us like, how do you know how to do that?
No. Hold on.
What you mean? If we weren't supposed to even know how to speak their English?
You talk about white people. I thought you were saying like two enslaved Africans was looking at each other.
The slave owners and the white people were looking at us like, how do you know how to speak like that?
Then they would proceed to chop a leg. But I wanted to, you tied that back to what Cabana was saying about his number 2 card, the one where you said,
the education being the trap.
Yes. Okay. So I feel like when they kidnapped Black people, when they kidnapped Africans and brought them to this country, because they took people from different tribes, nations, they did not speak the same language. And so as they are forced to be together and as the population grows and they hear the English that is being spoken to them, then they put their own language together from all of those different languages. And it's not English. It's not the Queen's English. It's another form of English. And I don't want to ever get rid of that. I don't, when we're speaking to each other, I understand what you have to do on job interviews and at work. That is your professional side. That is being professional, and you shouldn't have to change your tone. You shouldn't have to have a higher, note. Do what you got to do in sales. Do what you got to do to get your money. But we shouldn't have to do that. But I also don't think that we should downgrade how Black people speak to each other, because that is the tongue of our ancestors. We don't have anything we don't have a language that ties Black people together. We don't have a religion that ties Black people together. We don't have, what came from us. We don't have that. We have what America has given to us, and then we've had to adopt for ourselves. And that's one reason why we can't be on the same page, because we are regional. And somebody from California doesn't believe this, may not believe the same thing as a Black person and as, what the struggle is as somebody on the East Coast or even in the South. And so I never want to get rid of the way we speak to each other.
Oh, me neither. Me either. I think that, I think it is necessary. I do. And I think that's seen through music, just bottom line, through music. Yeah. Our hip hop artists, rap artists, whatever, they can do a song and universally we know what the song generally is about. No matter how much slang they use in the song, we know in general what they're trying to convey. Whereas you've got some folks, they got to go Google the lyrics and figure out what all the slang means. They don't know. And I agree. I think that's a way that we communicate with one another without everybody else and their mama that's not supposed to understand us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yummy. Look at you. Yummy.
Did I say that? Did I say Nami?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Going to what you said though,
you know what I'm saying.
When it comes to the music, and like you said, these artists, these rappers and stuff, they'll speak a certain way. Sometimes they are actually doing the reverse coding. They are speaking that way on the song, but then when you talk to them in interview, they talk proper as hell.
Yeah. But that's a money thing. They're code switching. And like I was floored the first time I think Dave Chappelle did something with Lil Jon. He hollering, screaming, yelling all that ignorance that we partying to him. But when he speaks, he's like, I have a business degree. This is just
that's a facade.
This is a facade. This is a character that you pay me to be.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's dope. All right, so we have said. Oh, and I also wanted to let you guys know, because I didn't think anybody really knows this. There is a website that sells a virtual class on code switching.
Get your money.
Code switching lessons. And when I watched the video that they used to try to sell this, they were giving an example of how, okay, let me see if I can figure it out. They had a picture of Cookie Monster in the bed. It said Cookie Monster's sick, and today he doesn't want any cookies. Then they had a picture of Elmo, and Elmo had 2 cookies in his hand. They were like, Elmo's eating cookies right now. Then they had a picture like Ernie. He only eats cookies on his birthday, and then a picture of a cat drinking milk, right? And so the sentence at the bottom said, "Who be eating cookies?" And she said, hold up, she said, the person who answers, people who have the standard teachings of English would say it was Elmo. If you say who be eating cookies, because Elmo's got cookies in his hand, and I just said Elmo's eating cookies. Hold up, wait. So, but that's what I said at first. I was like, Elmo be eating cookies because he's got cookies, right? And she said, in all actuality, that's not the right answer. But if you ask children who be eating cookies, they'd be like, Cookie Monster. He's just not eating them right now. He's just not eating them right now. But Cookie Monster be eating cookies. I was like, this is a class and people are gonna buy this? Are you serious? But again, to me, that's like, you've got to recognize that code switching must be something if someone can sell classes to kids. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think parents can teach it, but if you happen to be a parent that does not have that ability, I highly think that a child needs to know, well, not a child, as they grow up, they need to know how to code switch. They're gonna have to. Yeah. It shouldn't be that way, but if you want to succeed in the world we're in right this second, you got to learn how to code switch.
Have to learn. It's necessary.
Did you see Elmo talk about Black Lives Matter? I did not. I want to.
That was cute. Why was my niece talking about Black Lives Matter? My little 4-year-old niece. It was so cute.
I am going to sit and watch it with my daughter today. I heard it was amazing. All right, so linguistic profiling. We all do it. We all are aware of it. We all have been, in one way, shape, or form, chastised for it from our own community. So going around the room, what's some last words for talking white?
I'll go first today.
Okay.
See how you speak. You know, be professional when you're in a professional setting, but chill when you're around your friends. Take it easy. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Don't worry too much about what people think of you, and go to your city council and get involved so you can know what's going on with these police. Don't forget.
True that. Mr. Tyrone Gregory.
As my shirt says, get over it. People take themselves too damn serious. Speak how you want to speak, live how you want to live. As long as we speak that same language of love and understanding, man, we can get over a lot of things, period.
True that. Miss Cool Candace?
I think that everyone should continue to try and educate yourself on not just things that are going on in your community, but in your region, along with whatever is going on in your country, but so that you are able to appropriately communicate with those that you need to communicate with, whether it's in a professional setting or you're hanging out with your friends on the weekends, or you guys going to happy hour after work or something. Whatever way you feel makes you comfortable in that setting, go with it. But at the same time, understand that when you're in a professional setting, this is for your job, or this is for a specific task that does need to be completed. So if there's a certain time that it needs to be completed by, and you have to reach out to a certain demographic in order to get that accomplished, by all means, do what you need to do in order to ensure that you are successful in your task. Because if not, like how Dizzy was saying with her job at MCI previously, if you're speaking to someone from California and you have a Florida accent, change it up just a little bit. You'll go a little further than you think you would.
True. All right, Mr. Cabana, what do you have, my love? Be you, but be the kind you too. Acceptance is key to true unity.
Yep. Yeah.
I agree.
Put that on a shirt, boy.
All right, so closing remarks from your girl Dizzy the host. I pull a quote that I found while I was doing my research that I did. There is no such thing as talking white. It's actually just called speaking fluently. Speak your language correctly. I don't know why we've gotten to a place where we as a culture or as a race, if you sound as though you have more than a 5th grade education, sounds like it's a bad thing. I feel, be you. And whatever you have to be in whatever circumstance, just be that person. But be kind while doing it. All right, y'all, that ends our episode of What You Got to Say. See you next time. Peace.